Hey guys, it's Birdie. Today's video is going to discuss a few things that I think have probably been on the minds of quite a few people. So, to start, everything that I'm saying is just my opinion, nothing is fact, and all of my opinions are based on publicly accessible information made public by its owners. So, I've read some opinions here and there in various comment sections about Amber, and the consensus seems to be the same, with only a few minor variations. Almost everyone believes that Amber ran to YouTube the moment her cousin allegedly told her about the childhood mistreatment that Amber accused Tammy of forcing the kids to lie about, and that Amber seemed giddy, happy, excited, and frankly, over the moon to be spreading the accusations. Amber's behaviors made me stop for a moment because if Amber really believed, as she claimed, that the accusations against Tammy and Tammy's ex-husband were true, then it means Amber believed her cousins were the victims of abuses so horrid it's unspeakable. And yet she smirked, got that gotcha bitch or checkmate look on her face, and Amber proceeded to act as if she'd gotten herself one step ahead in some type of a game.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely spill the tea.
First and foremost, let me say that none of us know if the accusations are true or not, because there's really no evidence to say that the cousins were mistreated in that way. There's only Amber's word that she claims to have gotten from a third party, Tammy's estranged daughter. So as of right now, based solely on Amber's word and how Amber was behaving as if she had just won a free vacation, I don't believe her. Because if it was true, I would have expected Amber to be sad, hurt, and even emotional for what her cousins had experienced. And furthermore, for that information to have not been shared to complete strangers on YouTube. It's not Amber's place to share other people's survival stories. If the allegations are true, it's absolutely horrific. But I still stand my ground on the fact that Amber had zero right sharing or gleefully spreading, as it was, those accusations on YouTube. So that leads me to this. I think now is a good time to look at Amber's character. Amber has no shame. She has no boundaries when it comes to lines of others that shouldn't be crossed. And in my last video titled My Motherly Advice to Amberlynn Reid, I had ended that video by telling Amber that she's a hypocrite. By definition, she is a hypocrite, and that rules must apply to the whole if they are going to apply to anyone at all. But Amber is of the character of person who doesn't seemingly believe that way. There have been so many times Amber has done or said something that made it blatantly clear that Amber believes Amber matters more. Amber matters more than any of us. She matters more than any of her partners when she's in a relationship, and her greedy wants even matter more than her pet's most basic needs. I think Amber approaches life like a game where she gets to curate the rules, change them if she thinks she might lose, and then hold the world to standards that just don't apply to herself. She displays more than simple narcissistic tendencies, as she herself said she knows that she shows at times. In my non-expert personal opinion, Amber acts like a sociopath. Look at her eyes. Better yet, look behind her eyes, especially when she thinks she's getting away with a lie, even a lie that could destroy another person's existence. There's a delight, a happiness, an exhilaration, almost an endorphin high that Amber displays, at least in my opinion. I think most people have shame, guilt, hurt, remorse for those who will suffer at the hands of false statements or exaggerated statements or outright lies. But not Amber. She'd rather lie to win than learn a craft that she excels at due to her skill. She'd rather lie to get approval of others instead of earning their approval. And she had rather lie to make people proud of her as opposed to putting in the work to be worth their admiration or applause. Amber is nothing more and nothing less than an arrogant, self-serving, hypocritical liar who gets off on hurting others. And if you don't believe me, then you've not paid attention to Amber's facial expressions when she's attempting to deceive or otherwise hurt others in her videos. So, a few minutes ago, I said that I think Amber, in my opinion, displays behaviors of a sociopath. And these are the things that I'm talking about. To begin, let's look really quickly at what the Google AI overview describes as sociopathic or antisocial personality disorder type of behaviors. And then after that, let's take a quick peek inside the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Illnesses, 5th edition, just to see if the AI overview is accurate, because if we're going to look at this, we might as well look at it with some sense of accuracy. Of course, this is not an attempt to diagnose Amber or anyone with anything. However, I've seen several comments over the past several months, particularly late 2024 and 2025, where people have speculated within the comment sections that Amber displays characteristics of ASPD. Now, someone can display characteristics or show tendencies of things without actually having whatever that said thing is. But I think it's interesting that, at least in my opinion, Amber does display several of the criteria needed for the diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder. I don't know how long she's had these characteristics about herself, but for many years, commentators and us random folks have talked about her blatant disregard for the feelings of others, the way she lies, manipulates, and deceives, both for monetary gain as well as her own self gratification, as seen in her duper's delight expressions when she does it. The impulsive behaviors to start some era or plan out of nowhere, then to drop it just as quickly. Her addiction issues, and even the rage and aggressive behaviors towards others, then trying to justify it all, even blame the victims. And for me, that means she doesn't feel true remorse for what she did. We know that these behaviors have lasted for years, at least as long as she's been filming for YouTube. But if we think about the stories that Amber has told, if any of those are to be believed, and honestly, no one knows, Amber's told us stories that indicate that she's been this way long before she ever started YouTube. A lot of Amber's supporters often say to her critics, "Why are you watching someone you hate?" And I think we all have different reasons. But personally, I watch because I honestly believe Amber has some very serious and potentially dangerous displays of behavior, possibly from undiagnosed and untreated conditions. As a side note, I just wanted to say that we cannot anticipate professional diagnoses for Amber when she doesn't seek out professional help. I know that her primary care physician had prescribed her that Zoloft, at least according to Amber, but if she had a psychologist, as she has claimed, then the psychologist would have prescribed her the Zoloft, not her cellulitis doctor. In the United States, a psychologist is a doctor who is allowed to prescribe certain mental health medications. So she could have gotten that Zoloft from the psychologist if she had one. But since she got it from the same doctor that gives her her amoxicillin or whatever she takes for her monthly cellulitis attacks, I don't believe she has a psychologist. Outside of documentaries about deranged people, I've never seen such behaviors as the one Amber proudly shows us online. It's shocking, it's unbelievable, and it's something that most people have likely never seen firsthand. That's why I watch. It's the disbelief that someone can be so deceptive on camera.
Being threatened. As I have been. As I have been. I don't want this to be a
One
crime,
lie after another lie after another lie, all the while knowing she's caught due to her own video proof, then doubling down and trying to lie away her initial lies.
And then I get another text. I have video proof of you being terrible to me. Yes. A video proof of me reacting to your betrayal, me unmedicated with BPD. Correct.
The way she mistreats others without seeming to care. And the food addiction. When's the last time you've seen her when she's not eating or talking about eating, licking her lips, dancing because she's thinking about food, or when crumbs or sauce isn't all over her dress shirts? It's outrageously shocking. I do think there's something very, very wrong with Amber Reid, but I think she's fixable. Amber could choose to fight whatever force she's battling on the inside, and she could start making small steps toward change. Amber could choose change. She could choose to be a better Amber. That's never going to happen, though. I think she has limited time left, and I think she knows this, hence the paranoia about blood clots and other life-threatening illnesses. But like myself, many of us will watch up until the very end. But even after that last scene is played out, I think we're still going to be sitting around asking ourselves, what the fuck just happened?
What the fuck is that?